Hey, YouTube and Facebook viewers. This is a thing I'm going to do on the Bill of Rights over the next little while. We're going to talk about a few of them, and we're going to start off, especially with everything that's happened over the last couple of weeks, about everybody talking about, oh, it's my First Amendment right to riot and loot and everything else. And I just want to point some things out about the First Amendment of the Constitution, and also point out that any act or law that's been created is not being created in the Constitution, as a lot of you think. Amendment to the Constitution takes ratification by two-thirds of the states. And there has not been an amendment to the Bill of Rights, or not the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, in 50 years. So just realize that as you say that all these actions are constitutional and that the president's breaking the law or the Congress is breaking the law or breaking the Constitution or it's unconstitutional, if you're talking about a law that's outside of the Constitution, guess what? It's not breaking a constitutional law. It's not been tested in the court of law to say if it's constitutional or unconstitutional. So let's talk about the Bill of Rights. And the first thing I'm going to do is read it. Okay. Congress shall make respecting an established no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the rights of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So let me read that one part again. The right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Okay? Peaceably assemble. Rioting and looting is not peacefully assembling. So for those individuals that are backing the people that are rioting and looting, you're wrong. It's against the Constitution. It's unconstitutional. We can peacefully assemble and protest, which has been going on over the last couple of days. You see it with National Guardsmen, policemen taking a knee with the protesters as the protesters protest the brutality that happened in Minnesota. So that's the First Amendment. I think it's pretty clear, and hopefully that points out that you need to read the whole amendment and understand that the word peaceably is in there, not anarchy. Let's move on to the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So a lot of you like to say, well, it's the right of the militia. Yes, it is. But the last part of it says, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It doesn't say anything about the right of the people to hunt, the right of the people to protect themselves. It does not specify what that right is when it comes to being the right to bear arms. The right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, meaning the government should not step in and say you cannot own a firearm. Now, I believe that we need to background check people. I completely agree. There's certain individuals that are not responsible enough to own a firearm, but you cannot blanket every American with the thing you shouldn't own a firearm. Okay, I own a firearm. I will own more firearms. My right is to own those firearms. Now, do I take my firearm safety seriously? Yes, I do. My handgun is locked in a safe. My daughter does not have access to it, even though she's 18. The thing is, we as a people need to understand our Bill of Rights. This is not the Bill of Rights for the Congress or the president. These are our rights. They cannot take these rights away, but they continue to take these rights away and water them down, saying it's okay, you can do this, you can do that. The rest of the world does not understand our Bill of Rights because they don't read it. We are blessed with unbelievable freedom in this country, but we continue to let politicians degrade our rights. Amendment 3. It's pretty simple, but I'm going to read it anyways. We don't have this going on, but if a time comes when there's aggression in the streets, like looting and rioting and looting, something like this could happen. No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in the time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Pretty simple. A soldier can't come in and say, I'm living here just because I'm a soldier. They can't take control of your personal property without your permission. Amendment 4. The right of the people to be secure in their person, house, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Okay? We can't just go around seizing stuff, looting. Right there. Be secure in their person, house, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. Shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Folks, we've got these rights, okay? I had a foster son living in my house. He made certain threats. The police came. When they asked me if they could search his room, I asked 2 questions. If they find anything in there, am I going to be charged? Because I have not searched his room, but I would like to search his room. And 2, do I need to talk to a lawyer? The officer stated, you will not be charged. You may want to talk to a lawyer. I let the officer search the room because I was worried he had drugs or something else in the house. And we tore the room apart together. I searched it with him. We didn't find anything. But I gave the officer permission because I was worried. Okay, I have the right to do that. But the police can't just search your car, can't just search your home without probable cause. They'd be like, I'm going to bring the dogs. That's fine. If I've got nothing to hide, bring the dogs. They've got to have probable cause. Amendment 5. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land of naval forces or in the militia when actually in service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall a person be subject for the same offense to be twice, but in jeopardy of life or limb. Nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So, pretty big amendment. A lot of things in there. We need to stop indicting people before a grand jury does it. We are so guilty of judging people because the media tells us, well, this is going on, blah, blah, blah. They use words like allegedly. Okay, well, if it's allegedly, then why are you saying in the same breath murder? Look at folks, I know that we're going to form opinions and social media has taken over the world. Look, I'm using social media right now to describe the Bill of Rights. It's just the way it is. But at the end of the day, we have these unalienable rights to to not be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. You can't just see stuff from you without it being going through court. There has to be a due process that occurs. Okay? Rights that we just abandon and don't think about on a daily basis. But we have the right to be for life and liberty without being beaten or forced to the ground and held to we have a knee on our neck for 8.8 minutes and 37 seconds, I think it was. Why was that man held like that? It's a true violation of the Constitution. Not also murder. The police are to uphold the laws of the country. But there was no due process for George Floyd. He didn't get due process. Yeah, maybe he was a bit drunk or on something. But the video you saw showed him being taken to the ground and an officer putting his knee on his neck. When he said he couldn't breathe, the officer didn't do anything. Then he didn't respond at all. The officer continued to do nothing. Look, it's not like George Floyd shot somebody. They said he had a counterfeit $20 bill, is what they reported. Okay? And they didn't take the bill. They reported it to the police. Now, yeah, the police should have gotten involved. But last time I checked, the group that takes care of counterfeit notes is federal, treasury agents, etc. Yep, they should have brought George Floyd in, made sure if he had a $20 bill it was counterfeit. Hey, let's talk to him about it. But who knows where he got the bill from? We'll never know. Did he get out of the ATM? Who knows? We won't know because there was no due process. They took him to the ground and they basically put him on the ground until he couldn't breathe. Now, some say the autopsy says it wasn't. Some say it wasn't. We don't know. Okay. We know that he had medical problems and that being panicked with handcuffs on and being on the ground could have caused problems for him. We don't know. I'm glad that Minnesota stepped up and is charging him more than just manslaughter or involuntary manslaughter. The officer probably regrets what he did, but we need to make sure our Fifth Amendment rights are being taken care of and watched over. Amendment 6. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein their crime shall have been committed. Each district shall have been previously centrated by the law and to be informed of nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and have the assistance of counsel for his defense. If our court system would start following the Sixth Amendment, instead of making it a game, my conviction rate is X. Great. But were those convictions righteous? Were those convictions forced? Were your witnesses as the prosecuting attorney? Were they witnesses that were respectable, that could be trusted? Or was it a jailhouse snitch that said he said, she said? Now, last time I checked, and I'm not a lawyer, so I might be wrong, But hearsay is from a second party, not from an actual witness that heard the individual state what was going on. So a lot of these charges that are put against individuals, black, white, doesn't matter the skin color, are they legitimate? Or, hey, we need to solve a crime. This guy looks good for it. Let's take a close. Let's try to find as much hearsay or circumstantial evidence that'll point in his direction. We need to stop this. We're just going to find a person and pin it on them type mentality that goes on. My grandfather was a police officer. I've got a cousin that was the highest police officer in New York State for years. Both honorable men. And I don't think they ever did something to bring disgrace to their uniform and their ability to take the bad guys off the street. But we have laws that the police need to follow. There's a due process here that needs to go be here. They need to be confronted with the witness against them. To have a compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his or her favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. So we have public defenders. Great. But the system overloads those public defenders with so much caseload. How is it fair to a public defender to give a fair legal counsel to individuals when they're overloaded with cases? Maybe we need to look at our system and see how that can be changed. So that's going to be it for this part of the Bill of Rights. Appreciate some discussion. If you think I'm wrong, great, let's talk about it. If you think I'm right, let me know. But I've read the Bill of Rights off my phone. The place I got it from was the Bill of Rights Institute that is used to support the Bill of Rights. I've had people tell me that I don't understand the Bill of Rights. But I do understand the Bill of Rights. I've read it numerous times. The first one's very thing, peacefully assemble. Rioting and looting is not peacefully assembling. So Antifa, guess what? You're a terrorist organization, because the way you do things is you sneak under and you take someone else's cause and you destroy what those people are trying to do. Now, do I agree with Black Lives Matter? I believe Black Lives Matter. Okay, I believe that individuals of different color matter. They matter to me. I've got friends that I consider family that are different skin color. I love them. But there's this dynamic problem across the whole country. Okay. Police brutality is an issue for all people, all men. All right. And what I'm going to say right now is going to upset some of you. But I looked at the statistics. Okay. How do we help our brothers and sisters that are in poverty, which a lot of them are Black, move up from poverty? Do we try to set up things in their community to better educate them? To make them understand that they have these constitutional rights just like anybody else. For so long, they've been pushed back down. Okay. When I was in basic training, a lot of the black guys in my unit were there because they were getting away from gang violence. I had a dude in my squad that grew up in Chicago that talked about an area of Chicago which in the projects which was lit up every night with gunfire. Okay? Now we've got riots going on. Some of these people try to peacefully continue on and protest. All right. Some of these guys and girls have just all been trained to be violent people. Who failed them? We failed them as the American people. All right. How do we help the people in those areas that need the help the most? The Democrats want to throw money at them. I don't think throwing money at things fixes it. I think you need leaders, politicians, leaders of local communities to step in and say, hey, brother, I want to help you. I want to give you the knowledge I have and how to create a proper business to be successful, to grow from where you're at. I'm one of those individuals that is willing to step up and do that because I see all lives matter. But I also see the struggle that these communities have because they get neglected, they get used. So, brothers and sisters of any skin color, I'm here and I'm willing to help. I may be in Utah, I may be a conservative. Shouldn't matter what my political affiliation is. I'm here to help, free of charge. Get with me. I've got my MBA in finance. I worked in business banking for 16 years. I'm an educator. I teach finance, personal finance for kids in school. In my spare time, I'm more than welcome to step out and help as much as I can. So this is Jeff Lysette signing off for Why or Why. And I hope you guys have a great day. And I look forward to any responses, any organization that wants to reach out to me to see if I can help in some way. We got to start somewhere, people. And violence and rioting and looting doesn't help anything. It just pushes things back, way back, further than it should be. Love everybody. See you soon.